Now, and another thing that we've talked about is linebacking. And let's take a look at Pro Football Focus's linebacking ratings for the upcoming season. So the interesting thing about this, Seattle, Dallas, Tampa Bay, okay. Then you get down to the Super Bowl teams. San Francisco is 10, Kansas City 25, Pittsburgh and Baltimore in the Browns division, who teams that are playoff teams, 11 and 20, and the Browns are down at 31. Doug, to me, I'm looking at this going, boy, this is living proof that linebacking play doesn't equate to really good football teams on defense. So again, I know it's analytically driven. This front office is analytically driven, but if you got to be weak somewhere, it would appear linebacking is a pretty good place to be not as great.
I don't care about linebackers. I feel like we've had this conversation both with you, Dave, and with Les many times. And this feels like it proves the point that I've been making. You can't be excellent everywhere with the talent distribution and the money distribution. And I think linebacker is a smart place to go young and go cheap. Would I have liked Joe Schobert to be here in an ideal world? Absolutely, for sure. And maybe if Andrew Berry had been here a year early, maybe they would have got him locked up and would have kept him here. But the idea of young, mid-round draft picks, leaning on them, you hope maybe by the end of the year they're not 31st. But I don't care if they're in the top 10. Maybe the young guys they have can get this linebacking core to 22nd. But nobody leans on their linebackers to win a Super Bowl, I don't think. If your young guys turn out to be really good while they're cheap, awesome bonus. But this is not a position where this Andrew Berry front office is going to go out and sign big money guys. And so this is how it's going to be. And just maybe the idea of if Mac Wilson and Sione Takitaki and some of these other guys develop and then they want to keep them around and pay them, but they can get them for a good rate, maybe they'll get a good linebacking core. But I think what your numbers are showing is that's why the Browns are doing this at linebacker, because it's not the most important position.
Is it as simple as you got guys in front of the linebackers putting pressure on the quarterback and shutting down the run, and guys behind him making sure you can't throw beyond them? You want to defend the middle of the field. Is it as simple as it's just the way the game has evolved, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about rushing the passer and having corners who can defend top-level receivers, right? It's about shutting down the passing game. Now, the one thing about a guy like Joe Schobert, he was great in coverage. And the issue, people when they analyzed Joe Schobert, well, did he miss tackles? Well, how good was he against the run? But he's one of the better coverage linebackers in the league. So that kind of linebacker, covering tight ends, covering guys over the middle, yeah, that is important. But it's about priority. It's about priority. And I'm just in a world, I'm going to prioritize Denzel Ward. I'm going to prioritize Myles Garrett. I'm going to prioritize Olivier Vernon. And I get it. And now, again, the way you become a great team is not by being terrible at a position. It's by not prioritizing that position financially, yet getting really good production because your young guys or your cheap guys or your young cheap guys play really well. So I'm not saying that these young linebackers, it's okay if they stink. I'm saying that I understand the idea of that's the position where you're going young and cheap and hoping that you hit on a couple of these picks and that they can be pretty good, and that should be more than enough.